one thing is, whenever you grant access to something, always do it to a group. Do not grant access to your users. That is called AGP. When you do permissions or setup, you use accounts, you use groups, you use permissions. You use the group between your accounts and your permissions. You do not give permissions, that is access to a file, directly to the user. Even if you only have one user that should have this access. Make a group for them. Why? Okay, yes, very good question. I love like that.
I'm just,
Yeah.
that's very quick. Is it just because if it's on a huge scale, because you're saying the whole.
So, let's take a little simple example. We have two users. We have the boss and we have the employee. We have a folder down here saying this is accounting. On accounting, I want all employees to have read access. So I grant read access to the group, employee group. Now I have one boss of this group. That boss should be the one that's able to change everything. So we take the boss and give the boss full access. That means he can do everything on that folder. We could do that to the boss himself because there's only one boss, right? Yeah, works fine until he's fired, or changed, or sick, or something happens. Because down here, I'll typically have lots of folders with lots of settings that may change. So when the boss gets fired, or gets sick, or maternity leave, or whatever, then I need to appoint a new boss. Which means I need to go in here and, oh, boss 2 now temporarily needs to be the one with the full access. Oh, I need to change that maybe lots of times down here. Lots of work. Whereas if I had made a group here with just one member, a boss group, with just one member being the boss himself. Simply go into the group, remove the boss because he's fired on maternity leave or whatever, and then add the one replacing him. Done. And it will function the entire way down there. No matter what kind of settings I'm done on which folders where, no matter of my inheritance, broken inheritance, all that kind of stuff. So a good idea is always to use a group because your boss is a function. It isn't necessarily the same person next year or next week or tomorrow. There is, of course, exceptions. There is one that I define as acceptable for saying you can give access to Peter as a person and not the group is a member of. Can anyone get a good idea? When would that be? Where would that be? Let's make the accounting again.
Besides keeping an eye on the Peter guy.
Accounting has a number of members. Do not give Peter access to accounting based on his number. Do it to the group, the accounting group. Make sure Peter is member of accounting group. Give the accounting group access to the file, the folder, accounting. That's where their accounting files should be. But Peter will need some personal documents. Those are not accounting documents. Those are his personal documents. That is everything from his love letters to his wife or missus or whatever he has. To have a personal talk with his boss about how you're doing in the company. Do you still want to be in accounting? Do you want new kinds of courses? Are you satisfied? Am I satisfied with you? All that kind of stuff. That is personal documents because he needs a specification to store that for next year's speech and all that kind of stuff. Those documents are down here. They are his personal, no matter if he stays in accounting or not, it's his document. So that folder I'd say it's okay to give Peter directly access to that. Because Peter as a person does not change. If Peter is fired, his account will be deleted. Those documents should not be available to anyone. Whereas everything in here is related to his work. Always do it on a grid. So, AGP, account group permissions. Whenever you are doing this, don't grant more than is needed. Meaning, certain groups of people will need certain access. Don't give them more than they need. If they need access to read the documents, give them read access. Don't give them write or modify or whatever. If someone comes and tells you, I need to modify access, don't just change the group. Consider if it's everyone that has this function, do they need modify access instead of just read? If it's everyone that needs modify because it's part of their work, then change the group's access. Give permission to that group, now it's modified. If it is that person that has a special function, so he needs modified, everyone else does still only need read, make a new group. Give that group, modify, assign the person to that group. One detail about this is, in general, also for yourself, even if you're the administrator, the one who's responsible for everything, you don't have more access than you need. And say you're the IT administrator. I need to be able to move around on accounting documents. I need full access, right? What if something happens? I need to back up, I need to restore, I need to move, I need to change the disk. I'm an administrator, that's my job. I need full access. Yes, you do, but no, you don't. Because if I'm the administrator and I have full access to everything, if something happens, such as accounting is messed up, money is moving the wrong place, documents appear suddenly in the newspapers, that kind of stuff. Who's to blame? You're the administrator. You could have done this. Your fault. We'll put you in prison, or whatever they do. Whereas if you can say, well, I don't have access to accounting because I'm not working in accounting, I'm the administrator. I cannot touch those files, I have nothing to do with those. Not my fault if someone leaked the documents to the papers or changed the values in there or moved money to another James account in Switzerland or whatever. I can't do that, it's not my problem. What then if I need to actually move the directory? Because the disk is full, I need to move it somewhere else. Well, you go in and grant yourself access, move the documents, and then remove the access.
So technically, you always have
Technically,
access.
as an administrator, you can always
Just
get
take a look.
access. But if you do the granting thing, what will be registered in the system is, oh, he had access from the time he granted it, while he moved it, and revoked access again. That is locked in the system. Which defines and says, the company will be able to go in there and see, did you have access in the period of time when the money was stolen or the documents was leaked or something like that? If you didn't, not my problem.
Does it also track what he actually does?
Not necessarily.
'Cause
That's why you don't want access to documents that you don't need access to. If you can say, I don't have any access at all, and I can prove it, it's not possible to be me. You're quickly out of the
Suspect list.
suspect list, yes. So, only grant the access actually needed, both to protect your own users, but also to protect yourself. Your actual access to a given folder or file is the sum of all your group memberships. So that means when you try to open the file, Windows goes in, figures out, is there any of the groups I'm a member of that gives me access? If there is, yes, I'm given the access. It's not a problem of having lots and lots of groups in order to have the total needed thing. So you can easily have Peter member of the users group in order to have read access, and then the modify group in order to also be able to modify. So you can do it on multiple groups on the same folder. It's the sum of them that is the actual access. And
Unless you use deny.
Yeah, unless you use deny, which is the reason never, never, ever to use deny. Last folder, last PowerPoint, managing space. Once we have this hierarchy of folders, and lots of multiple levels, lots of multiple folders, how much space is who using where? That is very complex. So we have a system in NTFS that is called Quota Management. So the NTFS itself keeps track of how much space are you using on this disk. It monitors it, and it limits. It can be configured to actually limit the user and say, well, you have 1 gigabyte of available space, you used a gigabyte, clean up something before you can start saving new files. What you do is right-click on the disk. Notice the disk. You cannot do this on a folder level. It is the disk system, which also means if you have multiple disks, you need to do this on multiple disks. You cannot sum across several disks, that kind of thing. Once you have the properties of the disk, click on quota, and then click on show quota settings. Then you'll get this one. As a default, quota management is not enabled, meaning NTFS doesn't do anything at all. Once you tick off this one, NTFS will start calculating who uses how much space anywhere on the system. Doesn't matter which folder you're in, it will count. Once you've enabled it, you can use the quota management just to keep track of the amounts. Simply to do statistics, so you can go around to users and say, you are using half the space, clean up. You're okay, you go clean up thing. Or you can go in and say, what should I actually do once people reach their limits? Then it would be actually to stop denying people space. Actually deny them the possibility of saving new files. Again, the default here is do not limit, meaning don't do anything. Or you can limit to a specific number of megabytes or gigabytes or terabytes or whatever you want. And you can set a setting that says, well, once he has used this amount of space, give a warning that he is nearing his setting, his maximum. That warning will be a log event into your log view. So you can see in the system's log, oh, this and this and that user is close to the limit. Either I need to get them to clean up, or I need to get them to remove data, or I need to increase their amount of data that they are allowed to have. Things here is the global settings, meaning they are counting for everyone, including yourself as an administrator. So be careful setting those so low that you as an administrator cannot save a file. That can be quite dangerous. And you can go in and individually set. He is allowed to use 1 gigabyte, he is allowed to use 2, you're allowed to use 2.5, and I'm allowed to use everything. Max?
Is that done based on groups?
That is done on personal, no. The thing is, you can
Yes.
do it. The settings here will be general settings. That means that will count for everyone. You don't go in here and change it from. And a little detail is, user has to log on and actually do something before you can add him as an individual setting. But otherwise, yes, there'll be the general setting for everyone who's not specified, and then you can go and change it. That was file systems.